Hi GBC, it's Pastor Allen, and I need to give you an update on behalf of our task force on returning to in-person worship as appointed by the deacons of the church. First of all, I want to just remind you of all of the options that are available. It's important to the task force that you know there will continue to be options, the online options at both Facebook Live and at YouTube, the radio option at 93.7 FM WRVG Georgetown College Radio. We're very grateful for that close ministry partnership with Georgetown College and the opportunity to broadcast to you. We even have some folks who are getting in their cars, driving to the church parking lot and listening to the radio as they're here on the campus. But I'm delighted to share on behalf of the task force that this Sunday, June 7th, we will be starting to return to in-person services. Now let me tell you what we mean by that. First of all, our number one priority in taking this step is, of course, to keep everyone safe. We are, of course, asking everyone to please be aware of guidelines and restrictions, and in particular, if you are someone who falls in what they call the at-risk population, please be aware that one of the other choices, online or on the radio, may be what is best for you and for your household. I'm also reminded of stories in my family from my dad, my grandfather, my great uncle, of times when they served churches who could only gather once a month or twice a month, sometimes sharing ministers. And so what we're doing in what I'm about to share with you is drawn from some precedent from our Easter Sunday schedule and also from those sister churches and earlier years in the history of our own church. So for this Sunday, June 7th, folks with the last names letters A through D, this is your opportunity to worship in person here at GBC if it's right for you and if you're healthy and if you want to do so. Those other options are still available to you, but if you choose the in-person option, we want you to know what to expect. So let me share with you a little bit about that. First of all, as we're thinking about what to expect, here's what will be different. So the doors are going to open at 10:30 on Sunday morning. Now the main office or hub door will remain closed. We'll ask that you'll choose one of these entrances right here in the worship space, or if you require a handicap accessible entrance, that you would please pull into the small parking lot off of Clinton Street and enter at the back door. Ushers will be available to help you make your way into the facility. Now, when you see those ushers, they are going to help you to the closest available seat in whichever section is closest to the entrance that you chose. Now, what that means is you may not, in fact, you probably will not be seated in your usual seat from February and before, but we want to get you in the closest available seat so that we can maintain social distancing even as we're entering and certainly as we're gathered here in the facility. Again, some differences. We're not going to have our children's programming available. We will not have nursery. We will not have children's church. There will not be a worship table because it will be almost impossible to keep those areas disinfected for the safety of children and their families. We do ask that you bring a mask or be prepared to wear a mask and plan on wearing that throughout the service on Sunday. We will not be passing offering plates. Folks have already shifted to an approach, whether it's to do that online or to do that by dropping off in the mail, but we will have receptacles at the exits where you can leave your offering if you choose to do so. Now, some parts of the service will be very familiar, right? The same love and the same fellowship that you find so important about this congregation. Those things are going to happen wherever it is that you join us for worship on Sunday. Yes, we will be singing unless there is a significant spike in cases over the next several days. Yes, we will safely partake in the Lord's Supper, even though we will not be passing the trays. We will partake in the Lord's Supper in a little bit different way. Yes, sorry, you are stuck with my preaching. I'm sorry about that. If you choose to participate in an in-person service during the month of June, here's what we request of you. This is what we need from one another to ensure our mutual safety. First of all, before you leave the house, we do ask that you please take your temperature. And if your temperature is somewhere above 100.5, We just ask that you stay home and continue monitoring your health and consider contacting your primary care physician. We would ask that when you leave the house that you bring with you a mask, or be prepared to ask an usher for a mask when you get here upon arrival. And yes, this is a little bit delicate. We do ask that you would use the restroom before you leave the house, since our restrooms here at the facility will only be available in case of urgency or emergency. That's what to expect as you are leaving the house. Here's what to keep in mind as you are arriving here on site. First of all, please do continue maintaining social distancing even on the way in from the parking lot, and even as you're on the steps waiting for your turn to come in and to be met and seated by an usher. Again, please do wear a mask or be prepared to receive a mask from an usher. And watch for that usher who is going to direct you to the closest available seat in the section nearest to your entrance. At the end of the service, similarly, those ushers are going to dismiss worshipers row by row to the nearest door to your section. Now, the task force will continue to assess what we're doing. We'll continue to make recommendations for later in this month and July and beyond. But I'm so thrilled that we continue to add options to help us manage our response to this global pandemic, and I look forward to starting to be able to see more of you in person. As I've said to you so many times before, GBC, I miss you, I love you, and I look forward to worshiping together, even in some new ways, this Sunday.